Hi there, and welcome to the Agility Coach. I'm Kathy Keats, and this is a part of the Art of Reading Agility courses. In this segment, we're going to be looking at which way to turn your dog and when to recognize that you can turn your dog in two different directions. In this example here, the dog is approaching obstacle B from one direction, and the course doubles back on itself to go in the opposite direction, or almost the opposite direction from where it was coming from. So in this situation here, I can look at turning my dog to the left to go to C, or I can look at turning my dog right to go to C. And I know this because, again, the course approached an obstacle and then went back on itself. Here we have another example, same type of thing. Course is approaching from one direction and it's going back on itself in another direction. And we've got a push behind this time. It's the same exact situation though. I can approach from one side and go back on itself to go that way, or I can approach from the other side, turn my dog, and go back on itself towards C. And again, I recognize that because the course goes one way and then turns back on itself to go the other way. Here's another example of this where the course is turning back on itself, it's coming this way, and it turns back on itself and goes that way. So again, an example of where we can turn both directions. As you can see, the red path is a longer path. It's 37 feet long, going to C. And the blue path is a shorter path. It's only 31 feet. Now that could change if, because of my angle of approach, the dog jumped a bit longer and turned, then my path would probably be quite similar. But in this situation, what I'm looking at to decide which way to go, the red path, the dog may maintain its speed a little bit better because it's only got really one turn in here. Versus when it goes the other way, it's quite a big turn, so it's going to bleed off a lot of speed, and you almost count that as two turns. How I might decide what to do in that situation is based on where the course goes next. Here's yet another example. Again, course is going one way and turns back on itself to go the other direction. And what we're looking at here is, again, deciding which way we might want to go. The red path is the shorter path, but obviously presenting a huge discrimination problem. The blue path is a longer path, but avoids the discrimination problem. So what we have to decide here is, what is the greater evil? If the course goes to this direction here, so that's a jump, what will happen here is on the red path, if I turn to the outside, I've got nice flow going back out of the course. So I'm going to gain a big advantage if I can go that direction. Whereas if I go to take the blue path, the problem is it's quite a zigzag course out. If, however, that jump is on this side, and that's where we're going next, if I take the red path, I end up with a fairly zigzaggy path, versus if I go to the outside, I've got quite a nice fast path. So even though I'm taking a longer path, it might be worthwhile because what I'll gain will offset the fact that it's a longer path, and I'll also avoid the tunnel discrimination. So these are some of the things that you consider when deciding which way to go, and the important thing to recognize is that you can turn two directions when the course approaches an obstacle and then goes back on itself. I hope you're enjoying the Art of Reading Agility courses, and we'll come back here for some more Chalk Talks.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.